Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Life Live tonight. We don't have Tina with us tonight, but you have me. And we're also blessed to have Buff Patterson. She's going to be my co host tonight. And you know how Buff is. She's the funniest comedian you ever want to meet. She paid me to say that. So we're going to have Buff with us here tonight. She's also going to do our positive media moment. But we have two great people for you to meet today. We have the theme today is actors. As everybody knows that I've done a movie, Buff is currently doing a movie, and we have two great actors on the show with us tonight. Sheppard, who's currently in Florida, and Elliot Bunche, who's migrated all the way out to California now. From the days of standing firm, he's all the way back, all the way out in California now. But so we're going to talk to them, and we're going to have a good time. We're going to enjoy the show. So without any further ado, let me bring my good friend and comedian on, Miss Buff Patterson. As soon as I find this button, there we go. Hey, Buff.
Hey, well, I'm gonna give you your $20.
I thought it was 100.
Oh man, you have to spot me because my money be funny. And
It's a recession. Yeah, it should be 100. I should be getting 100 for my work.
And my change is strange. But I'm like this. Hey, ushers, close the doors. I need my money. Close all the doors. I'm like Mr. Sapp right now.
Okay.
I need my money.
No, we all during this time, especially ships showing up at the port with nothing in them. So we all need our money.
Well, I'm hopeful because God says trouble don't last always.
I know that's right. Amen.
Trouble don't last always. So I'm gonna be in a praise report. We can't be worried about right now. We blessed for success.
I know that's right. I'm claiming that.
Yes.
Yeah. Before we go any further, we want to say our prayers with Tina, and she's going through her situation tonight. We miss you, Tina. I know you're out there watching somewhere, and we'll see you next time. So, everybody, make sure you say a prayer for Tina and her family. All right. You ready to do this?
Yes. Okay. So today, since I'm usually Life's positive media moment, today I got something special for you men.
All right.
Joseph N. Jackson was the inventor of the remote control. You know how men don't like you touch the remote control at your house, right? Like every man knows has at least 5 remote controls.
That's what we say publicly, but the woman really controls the remote.
Oh, well, yes. But can I find it though? Can I find the remote? So Joseph N. Jackson created the remote control, and he also, some of his early efforts contributed to the V chip, which helped limit programming for children. So if you want to have no violence or nudity or something, the V chip was also a program that he initiated to put in our remote control. And also, so if you watch TiVo, you have a DVR, you got to thank Joseph N. Jackson. This guy is also, let me tell you, he also is a co-creator of the Black, let's see, what is it called? It is called, he's a co-founder of the Black Inventors Museum Incorporated. So, and this is amazing. I just think we always have to lift up each other in success and everything that we do, because we are an amazing people.
That's right.
That, great Americans.
Yeah. Where's that museum at?
It didn't say exactly where his museum was, but let's see. No, it doesn't say. He's just a co-founder of the Inventions Museum Incorporated.
Okay, we'll have to look it up then. So.
We have to look up Joseph N. Jackson. This guy has over 8 patents that he created other items also. But the remote control, that controls the whole house.
I know that's right.
Mess up the remote control, curtains for your relationship. Curtains.
That's right. That's right. All right. Thank you for that. That was very. So that's why men like to hold on to the remote control, because we invented the thing.
Invented it.
All right. So thank you for that, Buff. I always dropping some knowledge on the show at the very beginning, and I like to do your little ring thing. So we're gonna hit a commercial to pay some bills, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna talk to Jeff Sheppard. Dr. Anderson has a couple books out, and then we all need help with ourselves. So those books are good educational devices, good stories that also help you with your self-help. So make sure you jump on those. Dr. Vanessa Anderson. Name sounds familiar, right?
Does it not? Changed the name already. She's fast. She went to the DMV before she even got married. Let me go ahead and fix this name.
Yeah, she heard you say that. I'm sure she watches the show. So our first guest is one of my military buddy, not military camaraderie, whatever you say. How do you say that?
Comrades.
He's 4 years, comrades. There you go. 4 years in the Navy, and we won't hold that against him. But he did serve, so we thank him for his service. He's from Tampa, Florida. He started taking acting classes about 12 years ago, and 8 years ago when he decided to go for it 100%. So now he's 100% an actor, and he's played in such things as some national commercials. He's in the movie called The Clock and Married to Bala. They are currently on Tupac. So let's now get a chance to talk to Jeff Sheppard. Welcome, Jeff.
Hey, you guys. First, I want to say thank you, Mr. Jackson.
I know, right?
Made my life. I love my remote.
Well, it's good to have you on the show.
Thank you.
We've not had a chance to know you before, but just a little chance we had to talk before the show. You sound like a very interesting guy there. So
Definitely.
So you went 100% for being an actor 8 years ago. So how's that going for you?
Probably like every actor, not as much as I want. Right. I'm never busy enough.
Right.
I think we are probably our worst critic.
Definitely.
I feel like I audition a lot and don't book enough, but then I say that to someone, they're like, Jeff, you book all the time. What are you talking about? So I don't know. I guess it just depends on how you look at it. And I imagine that's like that through my entire career. I guess. I mean, it hasn't ended yet, right? So I have to assume it's going to be like that.
So what
my first question
you decide to be an actor, though?
I'm sorry?
What made you decide to become an actor? I've
kind of been involved in acting my entire life. I remember when I was a kid, and I would go to summer classes, summer acting classes, and when I was living down in Miami, they actually had a performing arts junior high, similar to Fame, if you guys remember that TV show. They had acting, singing, dance, photography. You had to audition to get into this school. So I auditioned. I did not get in immediately. They brought me in midway through 7th grade. So I was there for the rest of 7th grade and then 8th grade. And then I moved back to Tampa. And high school, I was in drama a little bit, and then, started partying and kind of went that direction. And then I went in the military. And then life, you're paying bills, you got rent due and all that. And it just kind of goes on the back burner. But I'm friends, Facebook makes it easy, but I'm friends with a lot of guys from my ship. And, when I post something that I booked a movie or whatever, like the ones that you mentioned, they tell me that they remember, in the morning when we had a bowling alley, a Greasy Spoon, and we'd get something to eat. And I was always talking about how one day I was going to be an actor. So always talked about it. And then maybe about 12 years ago, I was working and we hired this girl and it was not in the business at all. And she was showing her headshots to everybody. And I was like, God, if this chick is doing it, why am I not doing it? You got to go for it. Nothing's going to happen if you don't try. And so literally that weekend, I signed up for classes, and then I had a emotional breakdown, we'll call it that. And so I got out of it. And then a few years later, I was like, look, I either got to do it or I'm not going to do it. So I just went 100%.
All right. Buff, you had a question?
Yes. Okay. So you're being in Tampa, me being in LA, we're in the same industry. How is the Tampa market in regards to national commercials? Are they regional, or how does that work?
I would say most of them are most of the ones I do are regional. I've had 2 national commercials. Um, Also, most of what we get here is non-union. So I am SAG eligible, but as you know, if you're SAG, you can't work non-union jobs. But if you're non-union, you can work a SAG job. I think it's like 3 until you have to become SAG. I could be off on that a little bit, but most
I
of the
think
work
you
we
can
do
keep
here is,
both. I think it's a way you could keep both because you want to get money from both sides.
yeah, I'll definitely have to look into it when it comes to that. My agent, my representative up in Chicago, told me that I think on the 3rd one, I have to be SAG in order to be in anything SAG again. But I'm not there yet, so I'm not too concerned about it right now. Most of what we do here is non-union.
Mm.
So, are you
So
working on any plays? Are you expressing just drama, or do you do plays or comedy? What's your forte?
Um, you know, when I first started taking acting classes, I just wanted to get back on stage. That's all I had ever done before, and I love that interaction. You know, that it's very visceral because when they're laughing, they're crying, whatever the case may be, you're affected by it right then and there, and you're in the moment. And there's just nothing like it. If you haven't done a stage play, there's nothing like it. And I started at the same time as another girl, so we kind of had that click because we were both new in the class. And she was a producer director, just taking some acting classes. And a friend of hers was shooting a commercial for the Super Bowl. Doritos crashed the Super Bowl, I think is what it is. And she was like, "You got to meet this guy, Jeff. He's perfect for it." And so we were filming that, and I've done improv. I'm goofy, I'm silly, I'm funny. Um, so we were, I mean, all of it was improv, and I was just doing everything. And when I was making them laugh so much that they had to say cut, I was like, man, I want to film. I want to do TV and film, you know. But I still do plays. If I get long-winded, let me know. If I still do plays, um, and I'm actually part of the Tampa Bay Theater Festival, which is usually around Labor Day weekend is when that whole thing kicks off. And we have a play coming up. We are doing 12 Angry Men this year.
Oh,
Rory Lawrence runs the Tampa Bay Theater Festival, and most of the time it is a original play that he has written, and fantastic. I mean, just absolutely fantastic plays. I love working with him, and I love the plays, the characters I get to be. But this year we're doing 12 Angry Men, so I'm really excited about my character and developing that. It's going to be a great show.
okay, we have a question for you. We have actually a couple of questions. So, what are your takeaway experiences on set for future projects?
Oh, you know, I don't know if this is necessarily a takeaway, but show up prepared because when you get on set, there's really not rehearsal. You know, it's not days of rehearsal like you would think for a play. You got to show up, have your character nailed, have your lines nailed, and be ready to go. When they say, you know, XYZ scene and you're in that scene, you get up there and they're like, okay, you're going to be here. And they just kind of course, they walk you through kind of what they're looking for as far as your movement, but they're not going to tell you this is exactly what we're looking for, you know, unless you're just way off base, at least from my experience. They really want to see what you brought because they booked you from your audition. 9 times out of 10, that's the same energy I'm going to bring is what I did in the audition
Right,
because that's what they liked.
right.
So just be ready. I don't know if that really answered the question, but
Well, it's funny that you gave that answer because the person that asked that question, I know she's laughing like I am because she was involved in Standing Firm, and we had an incident that
oh,
involved people not being ready when on the set.
I would tell you something that I do, and um, I don't think every actor does this. It, again, from my experience, right? And I know it because I see it. But if the director is talking to lighting, I'm listening. If the director is talking to sound, I'm listening.
Mhm.
I'm not goofing off. I want to know everything that's going on. I want to know where those lights are going to be. If there's something going on with sound, I need to know. I need to know everything that's taking place.
Okay. Then your other
But some
question.
people like, and that's how you end up with people that aren't prepared because they're
Right.
not listening.
So the other question is from Rhonda. She says, "Have you ever done voiceovers?"
I have not. I have done some narration, so to speak, but I don't think that's what really she's asking. Voiceover specifically? No, I haven't. I would love to do that. That would have to be a lot of fun.
So is that something you're considering?
Yeah, I've actually done some voice clips and put them on. There was some acting website, Actors Access, casting networks, those types of things.
Mhm.
And there was, I think it's casting networks where I was able to do a voice clip and put that on there for possibility of voiceovers, but I don't really get any auditions for that. I do a lot of self-submission. Actually, my sister does it. I kind of hired her as my manager to do some self-submissions for me. That actually, I had an audition I did yesterday from a self-submission. But I haven't gotten any really, really auditions for voiceover. Narration, done that a couple times, but not voiceover specifically.
Okay.
Well, I think you have kind of like a Ray Romano, George Clooney look about you,
I'll
which is
take it.
good. Which is good. If
Used to get,
Ray has, huh?
I used to get Bob Saget.
Oh, not Bob. Come on. But you know
Well, when
what?
my hair, it hasn't always been gray.
Huh?
Is
It
it
hasn't
is
always
that
been gray. It used to be, I used to have dark hair. And when I was actually in the Navy, a lot of people just called me Bob because they said I looked like Bob Saget. But as I got older, I get George Clooney quite a bit,
I have a
especially
question
when I
for you.
wear my.
Do you,
my
being an actor, do you find that now you feel as though you can write your own scripts, or you're thinking about writing scripts? Because we always are studying, like you said, when the light guy comes on, looking at the lighting, you're looking at everything. And do you find that what? Do you feel you have a short film in you?
I think 2 years ago I would have absolutely said no, and that kind of comes up sometimes when you're just talking to people. But I do kind of have a story that I want to share. Um, and I have considered writing it. I don't know how it would look when I put it on paper. It would probably just be a bunch of ideas and characters and such, and a storyline. I don't know. It would probably take me a while, but I do have an interest now in writing. I don't think I would want to direct,
Right.
Mhm.
but I do have a story that I'd like to tell.
Okay. So what's your favorite role that you've played so far, and why?
Oh, okay. There's actually, excuse me, there's actually two, and they were both in plays. One, the play was called The Call, and it was five guys on death row,
Mm.
and we all basically, and one by one, they escort us out to kill us, give us the death penalty. We're all on death row, and we all have to come to terms with what we did. I will tell you one very difficult thing for me was to cry. I just don't have that emotion in me.
Mm.
And before my last acting coach moved to New York, I worked on that a lot.
Mhm.
And it took a while for me to figure something out to get me to that point. Um, so, but on stage, you got to do it immediately. You can't take 5 minutes and say, okay, give me 5 minutes to prepare and then say action. It's got to
Right.
be in the moment. It's got to happen. So
Yeah.
very proud of my work in doing something like that. But that character it was so deep. There was so much to that character. You have to create it, but that was there. And then another character where I was actually suicidal um, along the way. Another original play by Rory Lawrence. All of my plays have been with Rory Lawrence.
Mhm.
But
So
I
so
I like that depth as much as I love doing comedy, and I'll do comedy anytime I can.
mhm.
I really like that depth to give me more something more to bite onto. You know.
Okay. So playing a role like you said, you mentioned that you were playing a role that you were suicidal. How do you step out of that role? And it's kind of the same question I'm going to be asking Elliot when he comes on. But you get into this role and you're supposed to be suicidal, and then all of a sudden, once it's done, you got to be out of that role. How do you handle
Yeah,
that?
it's it can be tough, I mean, I really get into my character, and when I'm backstage, I'm in my character. Um, you know, Luckily there are some transitions in the play where I'm not suicidal for the whole thing. So as your emotions change, that can kind of purge a little bit. But
Mhm.
to me, it is exhausting to do a character like that that's not who you are. And you're really just pouring a lot into it, and the play is over. For me anyway, I'm exhausted. Um, I'm I don't necessarily stay in that mode for days, but it can kind of bring you down a little bit, because you have to get into something that's going to
Yeah.
make you want to be suicidal, so
Mhm.
you might have to think about some pretty dark and deep stuff, you know.
Right. Okay.
Well, my
For me,
question to you is this: what is your method? You know how people say, well, I have to, it depends on what it is, right? So for you to be able to, like, there's different the method out there. Okay, I have to go in a dark room. I have to do
yeah,
this to prepare for this. I mean, because, we don't just snap into characters, you know,
right.
you think you just show up and you're that person. I mean, I've heard Samuel L. Jackson can snap in and out, but you're not Samuel L. Jackson. So, what is your method to any character? Do you study the character? Do you, when you're talking to the director to get the essence of the person? Because, of course, being a depressed person, you have to kind of come in with a melancholy. But how does that transition? Okay, you're going to do a comedy.
So as far as giving a title to what method I use as far as method acting or whatever it might be, I've studied, I've studied several different types, and I probably take a little bit from everything. If I had to just name one, I would say method acting. I get into the character, and I enjoy staying in that character, because to me it makes it feel more real, more organic than if I'm popping in and out of it. I feel like I lose a little bit of the edge
Right.
if I'm bouncing around from my character to being Jeff Sheppard.
Mhm.
Um, but with a script, the way I look at it is, I'll read it line by line, and there's a reason my character is saying every line, just like this conversation. There's a reason I'm saying everything. I have to know why my character is saying every single line, or it just sounds like I'm saying a line. I have to understand every reason, the reason for everything that's taking place. Because in a conversation in real world, there's a reason. You're not thinking of the reason. It
Right.
just happens organically. But I need to understand why am I suicidal? Why am I
Hmm.
giving my wife a second try? You have to
Right.
develop all of that.
So you study the script, and before you actually go on stage.
Oh, for sure.
Even with
How many?
auditioning process, I'm sure it's the
Yeah,
same
and
thing.
right, and with the sides that you get, they usually give you a little synopsis of what the character is about.
Mhm.
Um, so you just try to do the best you can, because like we discussed, it's a self tape, so you can't really do it and then they say, hey, try it a different way. Um, you just send what you do, and if they ask for two takes, I'll do two completely different takes, um, to try and see if you fit what they're looking for.
So I know we watch a lot of movies and we just see the end result, but I'm sure there's a lot of prep before that. So how many hours do you think you actually put in on the average script to get ready?
Um, so if we're talking about a play, I couldn't even begin to guess hundreds of hours, because I like to know the entire play. I don't just learn my lines, because if somebody drops a line, somebody has to be able to pick that ball up and get the play back on track. And if you really only know your character, you're not going to be the one to be able to help because you're not going to really know what's supposed to be next. As far as TV and film, I haven't really had a role big enough to where I spent hundreds of hours doing something. Usually my roles have been pretty small. So, but yeah, you got to spend some time.
So has that ever happened in play where somebody forgot their role, their line, rather?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
A couple times. And it's, the funny thing is, like I said, I mean, I feel like I probably study a lot more than some other people. And both times that it happened, I was the one who got the play back on track. And but the bad part is that there's that awkward pause.
Yeah.
And then when I say something to try and get the ball rolling again, I know the audience is thinking, oh, well, Jeff forgot his line.
Right.
Right.
Oh, well, at least we get through it.
Yeah. Well, Jeff, we appreciate you being on with us today. It was good to meet you.
Yes, great. Thank you.
Is there anything on the horizon that we should keep a watch out for?
Let's see. I just did a commercial, kind of always doing a commercial here and there, but really the play, that play is going to be magnificent. If anybody listening is in the Tampa area, look up the Tampa Bay Theater Festival. We're doing 12 Angry Men. It's around Labor Day. It's a whole weekend of activities to learn things, monologue competitions. It's pretty extensive. Rory Lawrence has done a fantastic job.
Okay.
And I'm always auditioning, so just keep your eye out. You'll see me.
We'll keep our eye out for Jeff Sheppard. Thank you very much for being with us tonight.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Nice
Bye-bye.
meeting you.
Thank you, Jeff.
All right. So we are going to have another commercial break, and then we're going to bring on Mr. Elliot Bunche.
Most of you will never have the pleasure of being in Glennis's actual kitchen like I am today, but if you can, and you should, have an opportunity to try this right here. Glennis's waffle mix, I'm telling you, it's spectacular. She's truly a waffle queen. And Glennis's coating mix. Like you can use it for chicken. Well, I actually don't cook, but so she'll have to make it for me. But make sure you get it. It's spectacular. The best chicken and waffles I've ever had.
Hey, yo, the Lyfe magazine's #1 fan of those chicken and waffles.
Give me some of that coating mix. I'm gonna give me some of that coating mix.
Yeah, it's good. It's all good. I've had both of them myself, so they are good. Trust me, you can't go wrong.
And some waffles. I mean, some chicken and waffles? Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, chicken and waffles. Well, the coating mix you mix to make the chicken. Then
chicken, and the waffles.
You make the waffles, and you got a really good meal on your hands.
Oh yeah, I'm looking for some smell-o-vision right now. Woo!
All right, so next we're gonna talk to Elliot Bunche, who was born in Melbourne, Florida, the oldest of 5 siblings. He is the son of a dedicated nurse, Karen, from Brooklyn, New York, compassionate CNA Jerome from Birmingham, New Jersey. Sorry. Elliot displayed a passion for acting and entertaining at the age of 10. He quickly made a name for himself, performing in various theater productions, web series, and commercials. Elliot moved to New York, enrolled and graduated from the New York Conservatory for Dramatic Arts. And you can catch him in a few of your favorite shows like Abbott Elementary, Law and Order SUV. I didn't know that. I'm going to go have to watch that. The Aaron Hernandez Story on Hulu. And your favorite movie, Standing Firm. So welcome, Elliot, to the stage.
How you doing? How y'all doing?
Good. How you doing? I did not know you in Law and Order. I'm going to have to look that up.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. Yeah.
Well, that one slipped past me. I didn't know that.
Slipped past you.
Yeah. So how's it going, man?
All is well. How y'all doing?
Good. It's been 9 years since we made that film. So
that's right.
A lot of catch up. just from reading that little paragraph of yours, you've been busy for the last.
Trying to be busy. Yes. Trying to be busy.
All right. So why don't you tell us how you got started in acting? I said you got started at 10. But
Yeah. Honestly, just my mom keeping me out of trouble. Because we moved from Atlanta when I was younger. So we ended up coming back to Florida. And first thing she did was enroll me into a summer camp. Before we even fully moved back, she just put me in a summer camp and dancing and singing and, the talent shows, stuff like that. So I kind of got bit with the bud. They were like, do you want to do it? I was like, sure, I'll be in your play. I'm like 9 years old at that time. So it's been up since then. Like I just been every summer just being in a play, getting used to being in front of people. And I didn't think this is where I'd be. Like I said, it just started with my mom keeping me out of trouble. I went to summer camp and I came straight home. That's what it was. That's what it was.
Okay. And so you, I guess after we did Standing Firm, you moved to New York and started.
Yes. Because also around that time, I was working with a production company, Inkwell, with you remember, Renata.
Yeah.
And we were doing our own web series. We do plays there as well. So it didn't stop then. Just kept doing plays. And then I was like, I know how to create with other people, come up with my own ideas, but I want to sharpen my skills, like I said, if you want to do something, just do it right. So I went out and first it was just supposed to be a summer program. It's supposed to be just for the summer. And then one of the teachers was like, have you thought about, auditioning to be in a program? I was like, nah, I came here, sharpen my skills, going back home, but he, we talked about it and I auditioned. I ended up getting in. Very, very grateful. And then I actually had 2 weeks because I was working at a hospital and I was actually going to school for physical therapy at that time, and they were paying for it. So I had a choice to make, and I actually had 2 weeks to make this choice. Because the way it works is, if you work with the hospital, they'll pay for it. But if you, for any reason, stop, you have to pay that money back.
Right.
So I was like, I said, Lord, how am I pay, Lord? How am I pay Jesus? But he worked it out. I ended up, giving the money back. When I left, I had no idea where I was going to live. Like I didn't know. So I just took a leap of faith and I ended up getting working at a dorm. I became an RA, and then that helped me have a place to stay and earn a little income as well. And I also worked in Times Square. Got like 2 different jobs there. I worked at three jobs. I worked in Times Square and 2 different dorms. I worked in the dorms that was directly with the conservatory, and then they had a sister dorm that was uptown. And I was able to work there. So I had 2 places to stay in New York, and I just trained, and I intentionally didn't audition. For those 2.5 years, I did not audition for anything. They recommended it, but I was like, if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna hone in, and I made a lot of progress. I want to say like mentally, sharpening your skills, but really just understanding who I am as a person. It happened a lot during that time, so I'm very, very grateful. I'm glad I took that leap.
Okay. Well,
so now, fast forward, you're in LA. How do you transition from a Florida boy, Atlanta boy, to Florida boy, now New York to LA? What is the biggest difference you think?
Well, Florida boy don't go nowhere. I'll tell you that right now.
Wait a minute.
He over here too. He here. And it's so weird because it's like my family's originally from New York. They're from Brooklyn. So it's like I grew up just a odd dynamic. There's household personalities, up north, and then there's outside Florida, Elliot, So I'm an odd mix, I have an odd mix of friends, all different cultures, different places. I think it helped me, I'm pretty adaptable, you know. And no matter where you go, you know, you talk to people with respect, you ain't gonna have no
Right.
problems. You know, you
There
won't
you
have
go.
no problems. So
Tell the truth. Tell
yeah, I
the
tell
truth.
people right now, they, you know, they
Tell
talk
the
about all
truth.
this stuff. Like, I don't got them kind of problems. Leave me out of that. I ain't got
Man,
I
I
got
need
problems,
you
but I
to
tell
say it for the people in the back.
Yeah,
You
let
need to
them
say it
know.
for the people in the back because
I
they
ain't
don't
got them kind
understand.
of problems.
You know what's so funny? There's nobody from LA. Everybody in LA is
Right.
necessarily from somewhere else.
Right.
So I have yet to meet a real native. And I think that's why it makes this whole industry different as far as in acting in LA is because you have all these different personalities or coming from different locations in the Midwest, you got the South, you got
Right.
the East, and then you come and you converge here, and then people bring all their attitudes and everything in the same area, but we're
Right.
all trying to be, I mean, acting, you're individual, right? But not really, you're whatever the character's calling for that day.
Right. Right.
So you're
Right.
multiple people within that day. So
Mhm.
tell me what your method is.
In society or on set?
No, your method is like when you have different projects, because it looks like just
Oh,
looking at your resume,
yeah.
you done did some stuff.
Yes. So I studied, my foundation is in Meisner, but I studied pretty much everything but method. I've done Chekhov, Udenhagen, Stanislavski, uh, name it, I've done it. You know, but Meisner, I feel is important regardless of what it is that you're doing because it teaches you how to listen. You can do all these things, be all this, but if you don't have listening skills, you just out here floating by yourself. On a script, it's just words on a paper, but you can know the other person's lines, which is great, but you don't know how that person is going to talk to you. It's different. It's very, very different when, you know, you rehearse it one way and then you have someone say it to you differently outside of, you can't know how they're going to say it to you. You
Right.
know, I was on Snowfall and I was working with Angela Lewis. She played Louis Saint. And I rehearsed it. I was prepared. And that's the good thing about being prepared. I was prepared. But let me tell you what we did and how it works is you come in, you're prepared. They trust you to do what they hired you to do. I get my lines. We sit in the circle. We're like, okay, let's go over the lines. We all said the lines. We all got the same piece of paper. When I tell you that brilliant woman hopped out that car and she did everything but what was on that paper, I was like, oh my gosh. Like it was jarring because it's like she just did what was natural, you know what I mean? And how I
Right.
thought she was going to say, how I thought she was going to be, wasn't it.
Mhm.
So ain't got unprepared. We went with it. So we had like so many different takes of just different things. And if you really think about it, none of that's written on the paper. You know, that's your job, you know? So listening skills. It's all about listening,
Right.
you know? And then
Yeah.
I feel like Jeff, you know, I agree. It's like you over time you form your own type of method and whatever requires, you know, what's required for that role. You know, I feel like getting stuck in one method, it would limit you. You want to create your own, whatever it is that's necessary for that role.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you a similar question I asked Jeff was you get into this role and I remember you from playing the role of Don, you and David with Damien and Don, the bad guys, and you're this bad guy. Then how do you transition out of that kind of a role back into your normal self?
I think I've learned to leave it all on the table. Leave it all out there. 'Cause I'm a like big thinker, you know, like I think a lot, you know what I mean? Like I can just sit there and just be in my head. But that's why I feel like preparation is so important. So, you know, just like whatever that you prepared, put it all out there. Give it all you got. On the flip side of that, I'm still looking to work on a role that might have that effect on me. I'm not gonna lie. Like I talk to a lot of my other friends, directors, and we have writers, and we had those conversations of what role, and is it a character? Is it you gonna play a monster? And it's like I don't want to prematurely answer the question. I don't think I've gotten there yet. To where it's so heavy that I need therapy. But if that's the case, that means I did my job.
Right.
I think I did my job. Just be and not do. Just be. Be that person and stay within the circumstances. And then whatever happens after, he say cut. If I need help, somebody come help me. But
okay. I remember David saying people were coming into his inbox and threatening him after they saw the clip and stuff.
It's real
movie, and they had to remind him it's a movie, it's fake.
Right.
Have you had that happen to you?
I've had to since then. Actually, I haven't had to play anything that would have people dislike me.
Okay.
I mean, I'm open to it. I'm really down for whatever. I love the craft, but not yet. It's mostly like all my roles have been pretty, upbeat. I'm positive. I'm a good guy. Even doing Aaron Hernandez, like I'm grilling Aaron Hernandez, and people was like, Elliot, you so Elliot. Good gosh. So it was good, but I don't think I've ever had anything where people would be like, Dad, you make me sick.
Okay.
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet.
Well, I love the fact that the character, that your person has necessarily been affected by the character. Because, sometimes we look at some of our favorite actors, no matter what they do, it's always the same person, like Al Pacino. Al Pacino has been Michael Corleone forever. And I don't mean that in a good way. I mean that his character hasn't changed. It's just the variations of Al Pacino. But it could be considered like Morgan Freeman's probably one of my favorite actors. That guy can go from being a really, really bad guy to somebody that's very, very endearing. Right. So I wish that you would have that type of effect, that people could hate you and fall madly in love with you at the same time.
I receive it. Yes, indeed. That's what I would like. That's what I love.
Yeah. So what was your favorite role?
Oh, man. I think one of my favorite roles, honestly, was, it's kind of even hard to have a favorite because they keep getting better. So I don't want to be like, have a favorite. But I feel like let me say this, the best roles I've played, I'll say that, is when I'm given creative freedom and the set's a safe space. Gerald, looking back, you provided that. And now I got you here. I appreciate that. And I thank you. And I hope you do it again. Because I've noticed on sets, they require so many different things that sometimes it can be restrictive if you're not able to be your full self. So when the space is safe and people are able to be vulnerable, those are the best roles to play. Everybody's on the same page. And those are my favorite roles. I was Standing Firm, working in Inkwell on the web series. Abbott Elementary was a lot of fun. I'm not gonna lie to you. Shirley Rackles, she's dope and very helpful. And it's kind of hard to have a favorite, but I think the atmosphere is what I'm really, really focused on. Like the safe spaces. Yeah, that's what I look for. That's what I look for.
Well, I think that looking back on that I think you get a lot more out of people when they're acting if they got that freedom to make the role better than what you might have imagined when you wrote the script.
Absolutely.
That's why I chose for it to be that way. If you just think that I know it all, this is how this character is supposed to be, then you might not get that good flavor in the movie.
Right.
But you guys really, you and David, yeah, you guys play some good bad guys.
I appreciate that.
And I
It's so much fun.
think it came through because you had that chance to add on to what you wanted. So and it came through well. So yeah, I appreciate that. So,
it was great. It was great, you know.
Yeah. Go ahead, Buff.
Are you also working on maybe your own projects, like your own writing projects?
Yeah.
Every actor is a director writer.
Yeah. So I'm learning now to get the ideas out of my head on paper and to do it right. I just got finished shooting a short feature with these two amazing women. The short is called "See You in My Dreams." Written and produced by Gozia Ndolo and Jesse Reeder, two amazing women. But I've been trying to tag team with them because they already done it, and they've been helping me get those ideas out. Like we sit there and we talk about, you know, about the character development and the setting and, you know, things like that. So that's really my next thing, is like learning to, you know, move in the indie space and write my own films. But I can't do it by myself. I'm not going to pretend like I can, you know, but they who I've been like working with, you know, getting those ideas out and helping sharpen my writing skills, you know.
So what is the biggest difference between moving from New York to LA as far as in your craft?
Oh, the craft?
The difference. Like, you know, because, you know, New York, I always think people think New York is more like stage plays and, you know, other things, but LA, we think of television and motion picture.
Mm.
So what do you feel as though, as far as the energy, has been the biggest difference in both markets? Or are they the same?
New York, I don't know what it is about New York, but it feels like this grind and hustle in you. Mm-hmm. And it could just be the, you know, the ongoing with the city. Out here you need that. I mean, out here you get that, but you're going to have to, I found myself kind of have to fueling myself out here. Maybe it's because it's just the space, maybe it's the weather, you know, I don't know. It's like New York, just, you know, you out here. I mean, we walk everywhere. It's, you know, you pound the pavement. You're going to a place, you have a purpose. Out here, it's a little more lax, but that hustle is still necessary. But you're gonna have to, like, you know, fuel it a little bit yourself.
You got to create your own hustle. You got to be, it's a
know,
different environment.
Yeah, and network with the right people. You know, I'm a firm believer of stretching sideways before I stretch up. I like working with people who are right next to me. You know what I mean? And people out here are willing to, but you're gonna have to definitely make an effort to find them. People, you know, and they're not hard. They're not hiding. It's just a lot of people feel like, you know, you know, they'll just show up, and it just doesn't work that way.
No.
You know, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah. So what's the best advice you give somebody who's just starting out in the acting world?
Make the decision. If you're gonna do it, do it. If you don't, and know why you're doing it. And so that's what I've learned.
100% then, or not on the side, or how do you feel
about it? If you want to do it on the side, understand what that looks like. Mm-hmm. You know, understand what that looks like when you just do it on the side, and be okay with that. Mm-hmm. But if you're gonna do it, same thing. Understand what that looks like. You know, my lifestyle is definitely like of an actor. You know, I don't believe in struggle actor. I don't believe that. You know, my thing is like, you do what you got to do to get where you got to go. So, and that's what I'm about. So if you want these things, you're going to do what you have to do to get these things, you know, and it's a juggling act, you know, personal life, with the career. I've been told that you shouldn't think about quitting until at least after 7 years. You shouldn't even think about it. Don't even think about it.
Okay.
So I'm telling whoever is listening, know that before you even start thinking, you know, because it's a long game.
It's a long game.
You know, fall in love with auditioning. fall in love with it, because that may be the only time you ever
Right.
get to express your skills. That may be the only time. Do it for you. That's the only time that's the camera's on you. You get to set the scene.
Right.
Do it.
Okay.
Go all in.
Okay. Now, given the today's economy and everything that's going on in the United States today, how do you feel that's going to impact your profession?
You got to learn how to pivot.
Yeah.
Back to what Buffy was talking about. Learn how to write. Learn how to direct.
Right.
Put on your own productions.
Thank you.
Like I said, I just got finished shooting, this film, and thankfully they let me see. I'm down to the paperwork, down to the meetings that no one talks about. As an actor, we kind of show up, do our thing, we go home.
Right.
But
Right.
when you're in the mix of all that, and I'm watching them sweat, I'm watching them do budget, I'm watching them get permits. It's real, but don't be afraid of it. Learn, then go do it.
Okay.
No, I love your expression. I love your expression because I look at this time no different than any other time. Every actor, director, people looking for the money are always on the grind.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I remember a time in Hollywood where rolls was just falling off the truck. You always had to go get them.
Right. Right.
Every single time. And the money has always been like that. So I went to an indie festival and they were saying, now is the time. If you're going to create something,
There you go.
there is no time like now. So I just want to tell you how much I appreciate you talking about the time is now. And it's not about the economy, it's about us, because that's what actors do. They create roles.
Right.
We create opportunities for each other, and we always grow sideways before we grow up. And I think if we could tell every person out there, no matter what they're doing, make friends with the people next to you. That's what I miss about auditioning in person, because we make make our best connections with the people that are sitting next to us, about to go up next. So now we just have to change that environment and make it a little bit different. And I so much appreciate you saying that, because people out there thinking, can I do it? Can I do it? No, yeah, you can do it. You have to put your mind to it, and you don't worry about the environment or the weather. We just do it.
Right. Yeah, that whole facade, I feel like it's smoke and mirrors. It's like I think people are realizing that I call it like the ladder you have to climb to get it. They're starting to realize that it doesn't exist. You've always had a pen and paper in your drawer. You've always had ideas. You've always had good friends that were rooting you on and willing to work with you. And it's like, I'm not saying nothing new. This has always been. I just don't think we've always realized it. But like you just said, the time, if not any, it is now. And even after, continue.
Right.
You don't just do it because of the economy, or you have to pivot. It's a good skill set. A lot of artists they wear multiple hats. They do.
Yes. Yes. Create your world. Be Dolomite. Remember Dolomite?
Yeah, I remember.
Be Dolomite. I think we all have the essence of Dolomite. We create when they said we couldn't, especially being an artist. You have a canvas, right? And they said, well, who says gonna like your art? Well, I'm gonna do it, and they're gonna come. But if we cannot operate in fear, and I take that in life. I don't operate in fear. Who said I can't do it? So every artist that's listening right now, if they could, no matter what you're doing, even if you're not an artist, don't live in fear. God says He didn't give us didn't give us fear. We're not supposed to live in fear or anxiety.
That's right.
Get up, take your mat, keep it pushing, and wait for the success. Just go for it. Yes. Just do it.
You gotta do it.
All right. Well, Elliot, we thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. Hopefully it won't be the last.
Yeah, it won't. We'll circle back. Definitely got to watch that SUV episode, though.
Yeah, can we post on what you guys are doing, please? I got y'all, and I had to write y'all name down. This bunch is the first time meeting you. But I get your name down. Keep my eyes on y'all.
All right,
definitely.
Man.
Oh, you're gonna see it.
All right.
You're gonna see it.
All right.
All right. Have a good evening, then.
You also. Thank you for having me.
Bye-bye. All right.
That was awesome.
Great show. Once again, we want to make sure that we point out keep Tina in your prayers. She couldn't be with us tonight, but we know we're thinking of her.
Kisses for Tina.
And Buff, I appreciate you for stepping in at the last minute.
Well, you know what? This is the Lyfe family. This is what we do. We support one another in everything we do, no matter whether it be hurricanes in Florida or heat waves and fires in California. We are the Lyfe family.
In Maryland.
In Maryland. And whatever's going on in Maryland, I've been reading about y'all.
Snow in Maryland.
Oh, don't you guys have convicts that are trying to come back to Maryland? I think that's what y'all doing. Y'all trying to bring back convicts and escapees or something. I have to worry about Maryland.
Lord have mercy. All right. So, the next show. That's right. We got to tell people about the next show. The next show is the next show is dedicated to domestic violence awareness.
Definitely something we need to talk about.
Even though we know the month is not October, that doesn't mean we can't talk about it in May. We can't make people aware in May. And it's the 10-year anniversary of Standing Firm. So we're dedicating the whole Lyfe Live show to domestic violence awareness. And we're going to discuss the topic. And we're also going to launch the 4th book in that series. So
that's exciting.
So yeah.
Well, let's see what I got coming up that's positive for that one. I'm telling you, that's something that we need to talk about. Yeah,
well, that is definitely the theme. So the domestic violence, we'll be discussing that. So we hope everyone will tune in to that show because it's a very important topic that we need to discuss. And we want to end. We want to see the end to that.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. All right. So that is it. Thank you all for joining us tonight. All our people, for regulars we know are out there. Rhonda, Dr. Vanessa, Glennis even popped in. You know, it was good to see you all. I think Nikki Morton was also on. So we appreciate you guys joining us, and every time a lot of you guys are joining us, and we are thankful that you guys join us and tune in. So make sure you tune in next time though, so we can have that discussion. Hopefully we'll be able to nail down a couple people to come on and talk to us about domestic violence. If not, we can just keep it in the family and we can talk about it here.
There we go.
All right. So
all right. Well, you give that new wife a kiss because she's still new to me.
Well, she's still new to me, even though it's been a year. So
okay.
All right. Have a good evening, Buff.
Good night.
Right.
Tune in on May 19th as we talk about domestic violence awareness on the Lyfe Live.
Most of you will never have the pleasure of being in Glennis's actual kitchen like I am today, but if you can.
Tune in on May 19th as we talk about domestic violence awareness on the Lyfe Live.